InHouse Baseball Commissioner Jill Hermes is joining us right now. And Jill, how long have you been working with SAA's InHouse Baseball?
Well, I have been involved as a parent probably for about 10 years now.
Yeah.
And I've been a commissioner for 3 years, and I'm actually Picture Day commissioner. I handle all the stuff, organization for the Picture Day, and I also handle sponsorship of teams.
How many teams are there?
These are our new shirts as of last year.
Very nice.
Before that, we had the big SAA through
yeah.
there, and so this is the new T-shirts, and then our sponsors are on the back of the T-shirts. So these are brand new, but I've been involved with this part of it for the past 3 years.
Speaking of sponsors, would you like to mention your sponsors?
My sponsor is Culver's.
Culver's
that
of Schaumburg.
Sponsored my team last year.
I see.
And it was great. They actually sponsor a number of teams every season, along with Village Tavern. Those are our two biggest sponsors.
And do you try to have a sponsor for every team?
We do, and I wanted to mention that one thing is when they register, they'll see on the registration, each team has to have a sponsor. And it would be great if some of these independent business people in Schaumburg, some of them don't know that, that they have this availability to sponsor their son's baseball team for as little as $150, and then they, the whole team will wear a T-shirt like this. They themselves will get a T-shirt, and these kids wear these T-shirts all summer long. You see them all over.
So the team shirt doesn't replace their uniform.
No.
But it's just a way that
it's something they practice in. Right, exactly.
I see.
Right.
And so so it's $150. If anybody's out there that's interested in that, how would they?
Right. If you're interested, when you go to register your son for the registration, the information will be on there saying if you'd like to sponsor a team. Every team has to have a sponsor.
I see. Okay.
Yes.
And what if somebody out there does not have a child who is interested in playing?
They're more than welcome. Yes.
What's the website?
Like with they'll just go straight to the SAA website and click on baseball, and they'll be able to get the information. And just like with Culver's and with Village Tavern, they don't have children playing. They come to our head commissioner, Mark Monty, and they say, I want to sponsor 7 teams, you know. And a lot of them will sponsor a team at every level, at the T-ball level, then at the 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s. So we've got teams available, and I would say the younger teams, probably the ones starting out, the T-ball teams, have not as much experience in getting sponsors. It's a little more difficult because these kids are just starting out. They're 5 and 6 years old. So some of those parents are not aware that they have this opportunity to do this, and it's just kind of a reminder at the bottom of the registration that each team needs to have a sponsor.
Great, and that's good exposure.
It's great exposure, yeah. Anybody who wants to just get their name of their business out there, it's great.
Terrific. How many teams are in InHouse Baseball?
We have, well, a total, we'll have a number of different teams at each age level. We've got the 5, 6s, the T-ball. Then we've got the 7s, the 8s, the 9s, the 10s. Then we've got 11, 12, 13, 14, and then 15 through 17.
I see.
And there's a number, depending on what the registration is, we have a number of teams at each level. So there might be, I think in ours, the 13, 14s last year, I believe there was 7 teams. So depending on how many boys they have registered.
Right. So in-house, meaning that those 7 teams play each other.
Correct.
Have a schedule.
They will. Those 7 teams will play on, at specific fields throughout the whole village. Yes.
So that I'm trying to think of how many children that would be.
Last year we had, and I should know this because I did Picture Day, I want to say it was 1,000 kids, 1,000 boys. If I remember correctly, it might have been a little bit more, but it's roughly about that many. It's a lot of boys. I suppose the different levels, there's T-ball that you mentioned, right? And
then there's probably self-pitch. I mean, there's
7s still have, 7s still will have, the coaches will pitch. 8s, I believe it starts the pitching machine. And then 9s start instructing the boys on how to pitch to each other. And it goes on, if I remember correctly. My son just finished 13, 14s this year. I have a son going into 13s, so I'm trying to remember, you know, how it comes up. But yeah, so it's all instructional and everything. They learn it, you know, as they step up, so it's great.
You know, in-house baseball is different than travel.
Correct.
There's how many nights a week does in-house practice?
Typically they will have a night or two, depending on the age level. That makes a big difference too. But depending on the age level, they will have maybe one night during the week of practice and then one weekend. As they get older, they may have 2 nights during the week and then one on the weekend. And then once the season starts, they'll have a night or two of a game, and then they'll always have one on the weekends.
So the weekend is a game.
The weekend is always a game, yeah. I mean, unless you've got the 7 teams like we did, you might have a bye on a Saturday or something because you're the off. Right, but otherwise, you can pretty much plan on being out there on Saturdays.
Do most of the boys that play in-house baseball also play another sport?
I would not say most of them, at least not during the baseball season. Some of them will have a conflict with soccer. Not always, no. You know, you've got those rare, you know, depends on the different.
So I suppose you can play football.
You can play football, you can play basketball. The only conflict we ever have with basketball is that in February during our evaluations, you might have kids that have to get to a basketball game and do their evaluations for baseball also.
Yes.
Yes.